Hello, my name is Patrick. I'm one of your lovely cohort 2023 winter cohort mates. And today we're going to be talking about something that I and my mentor teacher use quite frequently, and that is Quizlet. I'm thinking that most of you have used it. My goal is to share some of the features that you may not be using, and hopefully you can integrate them into your classroom. Um, so what will we be doing today? There we go. So brief outline. First, we'll talk about what Quizlet is, talk about its features. I will walk you through some of the things you can do on it and kind of a how-to setup here. We'll do some pros, cons, considerations for students as well as for organization, and my own personal recommendation. So what is Quizlet? It is a digital flashcard program. That is the basic bare bones definition for it. You can create, use, share, find stuff that's already been created, share it as an individual thing, share it as a class that you present to students and that they can interact with. It is just an incredibly flexible program. What can you do with a free account, you may ask? So once you get in, there are four main sections that we will discuss. Classes, this is the student-facing side of things, where you have a Spanish 1 first period and all of the Quizlets assigned to that class. You can create study sets and spread them across the students and give it to them to use in the classroom outside of class. I find it particularly helpful as a homework or general study assignment. These study sets, what you may hear folks refer to as a Quizlet or a flashcards, these study sets are basically a term and a definition that are linked together, and the ways that those are recombined and the way that you interact with them are the different settings you have, different games that are present within Quizlet. But it's basically just like a regular kind of like flashcard scenario. They're really easy to do. Also, another section is the folders. This is kind of the teacher's side of the organizational column. You can really see, okay, what do I have on these topics? How many Quizlets did I have? Go in, edit. It's very user-friendly. And something you're going to see advertised all over it when we go to use it that I'm not a huge fan of is the expert solutions. It's just a way for students to exercise by exercise in the textbooks that they may have, see the way to do them and find the answers. I personally don't think it's a useful feature, but it is heavily advertised. And maybe it's just good for you to know that your students may have access to all the answers for all the exercises in your textbooks. I was able to find all the ones that my mentor teacher uses. So the beating heart of Quizlet is the study set. Like I said, a term and a definition. This connection is kind of reimagined and reconfigured as you go through the different kind of games or settings within Quizlet. First, flashcards. Quick, no frills. Answer or term, definition. Term, definition. I know it, I don't know it, just really basic. Learn is a little bit different. You can choose the way that you're engaging. You can reduce it down to things that you already know versus things that you are really not comfortable with. And it allows students to direct their energy and effort towards what they need to work harder on versus things that come more easily. And I think students really appreciate this kind of feature. There's test. This simulates a quiz or a test. I'll talk about it further. I don't recommend it for like assessment purposes, but for student self-assessment, I think it could be a really good strategy. It's for them to see, hey, do I know this? Do I not know this? If I had 10 out of these 50 vocab words, would I really do that great? It can be a useful tool, maybe a quick way to see where they need to direct their efforts. And then match is a fun timed game, visual kind of click and drop matching kind of scenario. To access Quizlet, you have two different options. You've got an app that works on tablets and phones. And then you have the browser that will work on anything that can get an internet browser. I personally will be showing you the browser option today. It is the easiest thing for me to show you. The interfaces are not substantially different. I find them all to be quite user-friendly. So we are going to switch now to using Quizlet. Alrighty. There we go. So this is the Quizlet home. I am logged out so you can get the process of logging in. Sign up is super simple. Usually with an email, you can use Google, Facebook, Apple. Just as a recommendation from me, try to keep a nice, polite divide between any of your personal technology and students, which is why I have used my institutional email through the school and not my personal email or my Google to set this up. Just a recommendation. I'm a little paranoid in that regard, but I think always more cautious is better. So we're logging in here. Whether you are a student participant or an admin, this will be how it looks for you. Again, really, really user-friendly, kind of like very few distractions. Because it is free, you will see that there are ads, but they are not very obtrusive, in my opinion. The four categories that you can see are classes, study sets, folders, expert solutions. Again, they're advertising that heavily. We will not go into that. very much. The study sets are the basic building blocks. There's two ways to, a couple different ways to interact with these study sets. You can go to study sets you've already created. You can go to study sets that someone else has done. So, just Spanish, verbs, and you can find just hundreds. I mean, hundreds and hundreds. There's great. You can pull them, take them from someone else and put them inside your sets and kind of chop them, reduce stuff, add stuff, make it something that makes sense for your students and not have to do a lot of the prep work by yourself. However, for the purposes of this video, I will be showing you how to do that. So you'll go to the top right here, pretty user-friendly. It's a little cross. It says, hey, we're going to add something. We're going to add a study set. I have, for my unit 1, I've got 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. We're going to make 1.4 today. So vocab 1.4, a description, Spanish 1, unit 1. We'll say it covers emotions, kind of responses to typical questions. We could create it now, but there would be no cards here. So we want to create some more items in our study set. So we can import it. We can add a diagram, which is behind a paywall. Or we could just start entering terms and definitions. For most subjects, you're going to enter in the word or short phrase and have detail here. For language, you can either have the English or the Spanish in either one. I am a huge advocate of having the target language first, and then the student's language that they're interacting with the material in second. I just think it really centralizes the mode that we want them to communicate in. So we're going to just do bien, and as you can see, there's a lovely autofill feature. So I'll just put bien, and I'm going to say, well, it was filling that in for me. And sometimes it's auto-corrected, it's auto-guessing is quite good. You can add images. It's behind a paywall to add your own, but they've got some really fun stuff you can just fill in. And so I typically will add an image because they're goofy, students like them. It's, again, kind of a motivational interest thing. It keeps folks engaged. So that's one study card done. So we've got bien. So we're going to do antonyms here. We're going to do mal, and it already knows it's bad or evil, bad or poor. I think bad or poor works well if we're talking about emotions. And it's going to give us, grumpy face there. The third term, we're going to do más o menos. Or we could do así, así. We'll just do más o menos, so. The autofill, as I said, is quite good. If we don't like it, we can delete them. Really tight customization, like really getting it to look fancy behind a paywall. But for most of the things you're going to need to do and that you'll want to do, you don't need to step through that paywall. You can add multiple choice options. I mean, you can really make it fancy with the paid option. And there's no images for más o menos, so we'll leave that be so we can get to doing stuff here. So we have created a study set. Again, this is just a bunch of connections between term and definition that we can do stuff with. Before we get to actually using it, we're going to take a peek at making connections, our organizational part, which I think is one of its strengths. We can add this to a class or to a folder. Remember, our classes are student-facing organization. Our folders are teacher-facing organization. So I'm adding that to my Spanish 1, Section 1, and my Spanish 1, Unit 1 folder. So we'll pop up here. Again, easy to navigate. We're going to go to my study sets, and I want to go to 1.1. We're going to run through this, just a couple options. Like I said, flashcards, super simple. Your basic flashcards. Do I know what hola means in English? I'm going to say it's hello. Oh, and I'm right. And look at Ralph waving at us. Adios, isn't that hello too? Oh, I was wrong. So what I can do if I want to bring my attention back to this is just do a little star. And it will ask me later if I want to do something with my starred cards. And I will probably say, yeah, those are the ones I struggled with. Really simple. I'm going to just remove that star here. So, ¿cómo te llamas? What's your name? Again, lovely images there. More images. Mucho gusto. Nice to meet you. Didn't put an image there, but that's all right. And ta-da! This is not, did I get it right or wrong? It's just how much of it I went through. So this flashcard is, again, very simple. It's just powering through it. It doesn't tell you much about how the students learned, but I do have 2 starred items that I could really focus on if I wanted to. Our other option is our learn. So with learn, you need to be more specific with your students. And this is going to be one of the drawbacks that I find of the program. There's a ton of customizing options. I would really discourage you from using the written, where they're typing stuff in, because capitalization can be, it can just punish them for no good reason. You know, if you've got language, accent marks can be really tricky. Sometimes it recognizes them, sometimes students don't do them right. And so even if they get really the right answer, it may punish them, and that's demotivating without having a really strong reason to demotivate. But you can, do different stuff, flashcards or multiple choice. Multiple choice, again, straightforward. You choose from 4 options that it generates for you. But I do like how the flashcards mode is organized. I will also note that there's an audio feature. This is a great accessibility feature. It will read the words that it shows to the student, and this can be great practice for pronunciation, especially if you've got science terms or terms of art in like a language class. For Spanish, it's great. Just a robot voice, but I think a positive element there. And so we'll pop back here. What's your name? Ta-da! ¿Cómo te llamas? Did I know that? Did I know that, or did I not know that? And I can organize it so that later I can focus on this still learning. Again, you're letting students direct their effort somewhere where they're going to feel more productive, and they'll be focusing on the things they need to put their energy towards. I think it's a really artful way of doing it. And again, you can shortcut this on the thing. It's, again, really user-friendly. You've got the test, and just like any program that tests you, you kind of choose, okay? So vocab 1-1, I'm going to do all the questions. So it recognized that I have it in Spanish versus English. It's got a lot of smoothing out features like that, but all it means is my term and my definition. Or I could have a mix of both. For this, we're going to just do Spanish. I could have true and false, multiple choice, matching, or even written responses in this quiz. I could make it really fancy. But we'll just do true and false so you can see what that looks like. Now, I go through, what is your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? I'm going to say that's true. Hello, adios. Ooh, I think that's true too. Nice to meet you, me llamo. Don't think that's right. My name is me llamo. Oh, that's right. And that's right. I may have gotten something wrong. And voila, we do see that I got one incorrect. It will actually show me which one I got incorrect. I love these motivational things here. It's little, it feels a little goofy, but it's nice for students to know that they're making progress. So last thing here is the match. And it's just a timed game. Click and drag, mucho gusto goes with nice to meet you. They can do it either way, from English to Spanish, Spanish to English. I find this super helpful. Definition to term, term to definition. It allows them to choose what's easier for them. And ta-da! Ah, look at that. So I got in at a certain amount of time, and this is the person that did it fastest. I did it earlier and a lot faster. And that the competitive aspect, depending on how your students are, can be good or it can be bad. Popping through here, let's just look at our folders. So again, it organizes it well. You can go through all the folder subsets. It's organized with when it was. You can do it alphabetical or latest, whatever the case may be. And classes. This is nice because you can see what sets have been assigned. Again, filtering them to see now their alphabetical order or whatever the case may be. You can also see the members. I see there are 4 sets. There are 2 members, me and me. And behind a paywall is the progress tracker. It's one of the things that could make this program really great if it was free progress tracking, but it's also more data manipulation, so I get why they put it behind a paywall. So that is the last of what I will share in our how-to segment. Quizlet Plus, I will do a small plug for. I use it frequently. Well, my mentor teacher subscription. 2 key features that I really like are the Quizlet Live, which is like a competitive, kind of like Kahoot, where students can compete against each other individually or go as teams. The collaborative element of the teams is really cool. I think it's really beneficial for students because they have to work together. They have to collaborate. And then it's not just a team of 1 with 3 hangers on. They're all working together quite well. And then that progress tracking is great for just making an impromptu homework assignment be, go onto Quizlet for 15 minutes. It's low impact for the students, low prep for you, and you can see very easily if they've done it or not. Considerations. The pros of this: easy interface, easy to access, so organized, not fluffy or difficult to get through, and you can find other people's Quizlets. You're really not having to reinvent the wheel. Cons: a lot of the features that I like are behind a paywall, which makes the free features feel quite limited. Easiest uses for students on their phones, that can be distracting. And it's not integrated into technology packages well for schools. In fact, most student emails I have found will kick out external emails. So resetting passwords, getting updates, it doesn't work quite well if we're keeping things in the right technological kind of bubbles. And there's a lot of choice paralysis. As you can see, there's a lot of things to click through. That could be hard for students, and they may not do what you ask them to, not by their own fault, but by being lost with too many options. Support student learning by being accessible. It's varied modes of engagement. on a really simple platform. It can be on your phone. It's in their pocket. It's in their backpack. They can use it on the bus. They can use it on the ride home. Homework can be done quite easily. It's excellent for reviewing terms or concepts. Vocab in any subject. I think expressions in English classes and for world language, it's stellar. As you can see, you can add images. So, what about for visual art or for the sciences? I mean, it's really can be flexible to what you need it for. And students can build and share their own practice materials. They can even send something to you and say, hey, teacher, I made this. That could be awesome. Probably won't do it, but your most engaged students will likely be the ones that try that out. And as for organizing resources, as you can see, you had two very clear silos. You have the students, and they only see what they need to see. And you've got your own folders where you do the organization you need to, and never the twain shall meet. Students aren't going to get overwhelmed by things you don't want to be showing them that minute. It's quick to disseminate, easy to get out. Students have access to it instantly. You can edit on the fly. You can assign them to multiple classes. You can have a giant backlog like my mentor teacher does of so much stuff. And it can be really easy to set up a Quizlet thing for a whole unit and not have to do a ton of work apart from making sure everything's up to date. Again, straightforward to organize. And that recycle factor is just great once you build up that kind of suite of study sets. In summary, I'd recommend it. The free version, it's going to be more ancillary and kind of accessory. It's harder to integrate more thoroughly into your practice. But I think with the fairly inexpensive, like $45 per year paid portion, it can be something that you can use quite frequently for homework and for vocab practice. Either way, a great study tool for students that you can curate and you can know is accurate and useful for them. Thank you so much. This is a link to the Quizlet itself. Unless I've mentioned otherwise, and I don't think I have, all information, all screenshots, everything comes from Quizlet itself. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing y'all's tech tool presentations.